Hello there and welcome back to the Student Pages podcast. I am your host, Grace Sanders, and today I'm speaking with the wonderful singer-songwriter, Sheehy. How are you doing today, Pa?
Hi, Grace. I'm very well. Yeah, all good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. We can kick off with, let us know a little bit more about how you got into music itself.
I've been in the music industry for I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 years. My first go at music was in a band called Walking on Cars, and we set up in 2010, and we did pretty good. We did a lot of touring. We did a lot of stuff in the UK. Did a lot of stuff around Europe. So we reached pretty decent height before the pandemic. We just gave us time to kind of reflect and realize that maybe this is kind of where the ship should stop and figure out new things. And so I've been a solo artist for the last 3 years, and I've released 2 EPs. The last one was released on June 9th this year. It's called Lost in the 90s Arcade, and basically the title comes from just me in my own life, like going back to things I used to do when I was like an early teenager. Because I feel like when you're not sure about where you're going with yourself, you tend to revert back to what you did know. And for some reason, I ended up buying like a PlayStation 1 with all these silly games. I started listening to like albums I used to listen to when I was a teenager, like heavy metal stuff and like Green Day and like silly stuff that was very nostalgic. So this EP is a quite nostalgic EP. It mentions like record stores, and so here we are, 2023, and at the weekend I'm supporting Bruce Springsteen in Hyde Park, which is something that I didn't think I'd ever do, but it's happening, and yeah, it's all good.
You've taken us on quite the roller coaster there, so I kind of want to strip it back to how you transitioned from a band into being a solo artist. And what was that transition like for you?
Obviously, the decision to leave the group was a really difficult decision because, like, we had success, so I knew that this was going to have an impact on other people. So it was something I had thought about for probably 2 years that it'd been in my brain. But I think we just fell out of love with what we were doing. The energy we had as a group had really faded, and the magic, the kind of spark we had in the writing room was really, really struggling. And I suppose when you put it all together, it just felt like, okay, I think this is it. I think we did something really good while the spark was there, and I think we were forcing it towards the end. And the truth is, we probably could have went on and recorded another album or two with some outside help with the writing, but it wouldn't have been anything like, I don't know, worthy of staying together just for the sake of it. Like, we had a really loyal fan base, and they're amazing. I feel like we would have made the same record over and over again for the next couple of years, and it just wasn't exciting. The rest of the group would agree with that. The landscape of the industry has changed so much since I first jumped into it. Like, when I first jumped into it, it was Facebook and YouTube, and those were your two social media platforms. And now it's just completely different. Like, we were selling CDs at all our shows early days, and our first album sold like 300,000 copies of CD. So even in the space of a couple of years after that, like, that was just not a thing anymore. And now it's all streaming. And with the streaming, then you need support from the big streaming services. And if that doesn't come, then you're totally reliant on your fan base. And when your fan base is limited to Ireland and a few patches around the world, then your streaming numbers are low, and it's like, okay, what's actually going on here? Whereas we probably could have sold another, I don't know, maybe 100,000 CDs, but no one was buying CDs, you know what I mean? So yeah, just a different landscape. And as an artist, I'm really just figuring it all out again.
I was going to say, I feel like it would either be the best or the worst time to stop a band right before the pandemic, because either you've got to carry on struggling through it, but then you had to kind of figure out, as you mentioned, a changing landscape that was something that nobody had ever experienced before.
Yeah, like, it was in June of the start of the pandemic where we decided to leave it there. So there was 2 years of me figuring out what I wanted to do as an artist, which was good because it gave me time to figure it all out. To be honest, the more I'm in it, the more I realize that I'm always going to be figuring out. Like, the EP I released a couple of weeks ago is going to be completely different to the music I release in 6 months' time, because I feel very easily inspired, and when I hear a song that gives me happiness and inspires me, Like, I don't care what genre it is. It's like, oh, I want to create something like this. So I'm constantly jumping from genres, whether it's like folk or kind of like, rocky bit. Yeah, I love it all. You know what I mean? I love it all. So it's hard to pin me down on one genre. You know.
Absolutely. I feel exactly the same. My Spotify Wrapped is very much a smorgasbord of different things. As like a singer-songwriter, what song do you wish you had written?
That's a great question. That is a great question. There's a tune by Phoebe Bridgers called Motion Sickness, and I hear that and I just think that's incredible. I know that the lyrics are brilliant, but it was also produced so perfectly, and like it all makes sense and it all matches, and it's just a lovely rounded creation. So yeah, I'd probably go with that.
See, I think people always revert to the ballads when they have a question like that. Something that like is so meaningful rather than something that's like really poppy. No one's wishing that they wrote Fly Like a G6. Maybe I. Speaking of like getting people dancing, you mentioned that you are supporting Bruce Springsteen at the BST Festival in Hyde Park this Saturday. Are you a festivals guy? Do you enjoy those like larger gigs?
I love playing festivals. I'll be honest. I didn't start going to festivals until I was playing them, and I haven't been to many as a punter. So once my show is over, though, I finish up at like 6:40. So I'm going to pack the gear down, hope I don't lose anything, and just go and watch Bruce Springsteen. I think he plays for like 3 or 4 hours. So whether I know the tunes or not, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Brilliant. I was lucky enough to go to Glastonbury this year, and I was there for the whole 5-day slog. And by the end of it, my step count was like 30,000 steps a day. When I cheered, my back gave out. Like I feel like it's a marathon rather than anything else.
Yeah, fair play. I have a few buddies that went, and they were saying a similar thing. And again, I have never been to Glastonbury, and I've never played Glastonbury, so I'm putting that out in the world. That's one thing I'd love to do. So yeah, let's keep dreaming.
I mean, it's enough for anybody to get emotional when they see like the hordes of people that are there just to see you play. Would the pyramid stage be in your sights?
I think as an artist, you're always looking at bigger things and bigger stages and bigger tours. So I think it's only natural for an artist to be dreaming of that stuff. Yeah, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you kind of like, yeah, this is okay for me. I've always been a dreamer as a kid. I've always dreamed of, like, even in school, I was such a dreamer, and I was really deluded as a teenager. No, like I was thinking of extra deluded. Like when all my friends started studying and going off to college, I couldn't believe what they were up to and why they were doing it. Like, I know I was in school, but I had no interest in being educated. I just was either going to be a musician or a soccer player. And that was it. That's all I wanted to do. But so did everybody else. But they got realistic towards the end of school and knuckled down and got some grades and went off to college and did their thing. But I didn't. I never, as far away as it was from my grasp, I was like, no, this I have to go for it. So yeah, here we are, still grasping.
Well, clearly being an optimist pays off here.
Yeah, I think so. And even when we started the band, I remember that we had written a few songs, and I remember listening back to them and thinking, these songs are brilliant. They're definitely going to be on the radio. And the rest of the group were like, what are you on about? How do you think we're going to get on the radio? I was like, man, listen to the tracks. They're just going to get on the radio. And for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but we did get on the radio, and that was the kind of start of it all. So yeah, I'm still dreaming. That hasn't left me.
Speaking of like big names and going and supporting like other artists, is there a specific artist that you would love to collaborate with in the future?
Love to collaborate with. I love Phoebe Bridgers. I think she's amazing. Yeah, probably Phoebe Bridgers or Taylor Swift. I think if I was to choose like a male vocal, I don't think it would work that well. But I can hear my own vocal, the kind of the low kind of chesty vocal with a female singer, and I think that would be such a lovely thing.
Do you have tickets for the Eras tour? Are you a Swiftie yourself?
Not that hardcore. No, I'm not. I admire from afar, like a strange stalker.
I think many people do with Taylor Swift. I feel like she's gotten big enough now. So, what are you actually working on right now? You've just had an EP come out. You're heading towards starting touring for festivals. Is anything coming in the future?
Yeah, so I'm working on an LP, and I've been working on an LP for a while now. And towards the end of that process, I always end up thinking, this isn't an LP, this is another EP. So an EP stands for extended play, and it's like a 4 to 6 track little album. And then an LP is a long play, full record. And I always feel like I've got like 4 or 5 tracks that feel cohesive, and then I've got 4 or 5 that feel completely on a different world. So I'm ending up just releasing EPs after EPs. I'm still on a mission for my LP. So, and then with the next release, then I've got a tour at the end of the year around Europe, and we are gonna stop in the UK on the way. We've got London, Bush Hall, McHughl's in Glasgow, and we're in Jimmy's in Liverpool. That's all the end of November. Yeah, we finished off the tour in an hour away from my hometown in Clarny. So that'll be nice. That's kind of when all the family and friends kind of come along, and it's just a nice celebration. So yeah, looking forward to that.
So you're not going to be releasing any TikTok jingles anytime soon, then, to get viral?
Well, I am on TikTok, and to be honest, I've actually given it a go. I've given it a go because my management team or my label, anyone I turn to, they're like, okay, well, let's get some content for TikTok. And I'm like, do we have to? And they say, yes, we have to, or else this is a sinking ship. So I've been doing a bit of TikTok, and it's literally just really short versions of what I do anyway. Yeah, it's been fine. I think I've got like, I don't know, do I have 8,000 followers? I think it's a start. So yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, to be honest, the best thing about TikTok is the comedy that's on it. Like I do post a bit, but when I'm consuming content on TikTok, it's purely comedy. It's like second to none. Like I could stay there for hours and just realize, what? The day just got away from me. I just spend it on TikTok laughing.
Well, it was great speaking with you today, Pa. I hope you have a wonderful time on Saturday with Bruce. Give him my regards, and I hope your UK tour goes fantastically towards the end of the year.
Great, lovely to chat to you.
Thank you ever so much.
All right, cheers.